Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem El Shai, Ba'ashem HaRakah Kodash, double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well, and Shalom for the hopeful elect. It's Payala, and this is news and prophecy and news update. And the date today is 8th of December 2022. I got a couple articles that I want to go into, and Lord willing, measure it through this word, and Lord willing, you be edified. So the first one I'm going to start with is from Zero Hedge. And the title reads: Germany arrests dozens accused of plotting to overthrow government. Over 24 people were arrested. So that's over 24 people were arrested in Germany on Wednesday for allegedly plotting to overthrow the government. Now this is Germany. Germany is when you deal with Esau Edom, it's known as Teman. All right, the wise men of Teman. All right, these are the forward thinkers of Esau. All right, Esau Edom, the so-called white man. So for with German engineering and all that good stuff, with these guys doing it, it says quite a lot, man. All right, kind of says a lot about the spirit of things in this day and age. I'll quickly read this in the book of Ezekiel. Let me just search Teman real quick. Right. So, let me carry on reading. All right, around 3,000 German police and special forces officers were involved in the operation to detain individuals believed to be members of a domestic terrorist organization formed in late 2021. Reichsbürger, citizens of Reich movement, all right, with plans to overthrow, which plan to overthrow the government and form their own state. All right, this is a consistent trend. All right, with Esau Edom, with the so-called white man. You got Texas down there. You got them, wanting to become a republic state. You got the Brexit that happened in the United Kingdom over here in Britain. All right, them departing from the European Union, as well as other nations that want to depart. And now you have people within, all right, and these are the upper echelon of, regarded as princes within the realm of Germany that were looking to make this move. The fact that they had to round up 3,000 German police for just over a dozen people, 24 people, kind of speaks to the level of power they have, all right? I'm just putting two and two together, all right? According to prosecutors, the group believes that Germany is currently ruled by members of the so-called deep state, which needs to be overthrown. This is the same thing that you had even with Trump supporters and things of that nature. A lot of them were speaking that against the deep state, all right? 1% that are like, there's a word I'm thinking, not enclosed, but they're basically protected by the idea of government, but they're pulling the strings from behind the curtain. The Wizards of Oz, the bankers and all that type of stuff. So it says two other individuals were arrested outside the country, one in Austria and the other in Italy. In total, 52 suspects were reportedly under investigation. Among those detained were a member of the far-right Alternative for Germany party who had served in the German parliament, a member of the German nobility, and a Russian citizen accused of supporting the group's plans. All right, so they were receiving backing from Russia. Federal prosecutors said that they were investigating a total of 52 suspects, so it's a bit more than half a dozen. It's more like over 4 times, 4 dozen, all right? One of the members from an old aristocratic family, Heinrich the 13th, is alleged to have been central to their plans. All right, you can see him right there pictured. The group's plan included an armed attack on the Reichstag Parliament building. Members had been conducting organized arms training and attempted to recruit German security services personnel. They are also accused of forming a sort of shadow government, which they would install if their plans were successful. All right, so you seeing this is Esau being drastically, set against each other. This spells for what times we're in, all right? The Times notes that officials have no idea how close the group was to acting on their plans. According to the report, the group wanted to overcome the existing state order in Germany and to establish its own form of state, the outlines of which have already been worked out. The groups of the organization were aware that the goal can only be achieved through the use of military means and violence against state representatives. They also included commissioning killings. So they're all going to go into straight up covert war against the government, man. That's what they were on the cusp of doing. And don't be, surprised if you don't see more of this, all right? Because this is everything that's written prophetically to the days that we're in, all right? So let's go to Daniel, the 2nd chapter. Let's read a few precepts. Says Daniel 2 and 41. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. All right, the part that is potter's clay is the weaker of the European economic market, all right, which is today known as the EU, European Union, right, which started as 10 nations for financial trade, and that's what it's speaking about, all right. The strong being out of Germany, formerly part of it also was the United Kingdom, all right, and then you have France, and I think that's I know the weaker ones. I'll keep it this way. I'll say it this way: Portugal, Ireland, Italy, Greece, Spain. All right, they're the weaker ones. That'll be the clay, and the rest are basically iron. The kingdom shall be divided. All right, so we're seeing that division being formed right now. But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much thou sawest iron mixed with a miry clay. So there's going to be some power in it, but what's going to weaken it is that clay. All right, and as the toes of the feet were part iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. All right, and that's where it is. So let me read this in the book of Revelation 17 and 16. So it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, all right, the beast being NATO, all right, and the horns being the EU, or the beast even can include I'll read on. So it says, so it's a beast, these shall hate the whore, all right, which is America, and shall make her desolate and naked, all right, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So these nations that receive power with the beast, as it tells you, all right, in verse 12 here, they basically are going to turn upon the beast when the time is right. All right, and we're seeing a division being created right now in all factions of the beast. All right, the horns and whatnot. That's ultimately going to lead to America being the person that they put all the blame upon. Verse 17, for the Most High have put in their hearts to fulfill his will. And this has been done for what? The Heavenly Father's will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. And that's what you see going on. Let me read this. So this is Matthew 12 and 25. And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought into desolation, and every city of the house or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan casts out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? And if I by Beelzebub cast out devils, by whom do your children cast them out? Therefore they shall be your judges. But if I will cast out devils by the Spirit of the Most High, then the kingdom of the Most High has come unto you. And that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing the kingdom of the Most High manifest, where we're seeing this fracture in Esau's power structure. All right, this is the coming of the Lord's kingdom. I want to read one more scripture that's coming to mind. You know what? It'll suffice. So let's go here. So again, from Zero Hedge, it says Nigeria limits ATM withdrawals to $45 per day to force government-controlled digital payments. All right, and this is what we're seeing. Where this is a model, a precursor of what's to come over here in the United Kingdom, United States, being Babylon the Great, being the main place. All right, where something I always say that they're going to incentivize. Right now you have the crypto, and there's information out there that basically says Bitcoin and all these things, these crypto coins, were set up by the CIA. All right, and it's basically, you know, to soften the people, you know, not soften, what's the thing called, you know, tenderize the people, get them ready for, you know, the implementation of the CBD system, the use of the blockchain. All right, so one of the ways they'll do it, they get used to it, they profit by it. That's why people have been making a killing from crypto. All right, and even you've seen recently, you've had the fourth individual get killed, and that was dealing with, had an exchange, you know, a tech geek and all that type of stuff. Basically, these people that are doing that, all right, that are creating that kind of wealth, what's going on with them? I mean, that have that kind of pull, they're being taken out, all right? And I believe that they're kind of clearing the way for what's to come, all right? When they can set up their beast system in its totality, all right? So it says a staggering number of Nigerians love Bitcoin but hate government cryptocurrency, CBDC, central bank digital currency, all right? Which isn't crypto, because the word crypto is hidden. This is actually seen, all right, by the government-controlled digital payments, all right? By the government, sorry. In April, leading cryptocurrency exchange KuCoin noted that 35% of the adult population in Nigeria, roughly 34 million adults, aged 18 to 60, own Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. But when it comes to the country's central bank digital currency, the e-Naira, it was a massive failure, all right? No one was feeling it, all right? And really, Nigeria is like a failed state anyway. They ain't gonna buy into anything that the government is selling, all right? Because it's corrupt from the ground up. So it says, according to Bloomberg, only 1 in 200 Nigerians use e-Naira, despite government implemented discounts and other incentives implemented as desperate measures to increase adoption. All right, so see that they presented a incentive. All right, basically, they said, look, if you buy into our CBDC, we'll give you a handsome, you know, it might be that, all right, for every Naira you put in, you get double your money, or you get, a certain percentage on every naira you put into it. So that would mean that people be like, you know what, might as well do it because I'm getting a good ratio on where it is. But even though they done that, a lot of people don't want to mess with it. They don't care. All right. Now the government is looking to boost digital payments by limiting ATM withdrawals to just 20,000 naira, or roughly US $45 per day. Bloomberg reports saying circular sent to lenders on Tuesday, the previous withdrawal limit was 150 naira, $350. So that's a big drop in the amount you could take out. Now, this is something that was being done. I could only speak for the UK, but I'm sure it's probably done in America as well. All right, where they basically started shutting down, like with the pulling. We call them cash points over here. That's why I'm so struggling. Pulling cash points from use, all right, especially in rural, England, okay, the United Kingdom, and even you can use before you could do emergency cash withdrawals with certain banks, and basically they made it where you could only go to certain cash points where it was like where the actual bank cash point was, where before it was like the nearest one anywhere, and then they even put a greater limit on how much you could withdraw. All right, but one thing they did do during the pandemic is they increased the limit with what you could withdraw as well. So that's like a bit here and there. All right, but but for the most part, they're making it more difficult. It's a pilot, so to speak, like a trial run, where they're saying, okay, we're gonna eliminate a lot of these cash points, right? And the main things that we're doing was what, taking away cash payments. So everywhere throughout the world, they're doing something where where if you look at it through a prophetic eye, all right, you measure the times by the scriptures, you can see it's all heading in one direction, but they're just using different means to do it. All right. So it says weekly cash withdrawals for banks are now limited without fee to 100,000 naira. So it's even less, $225 for individuals, and 500,000 naira, 1,125 for corporations. Any amount above this will incur a fee of 5% or 10% respectively. All right. So you can see that they're applying pressure. All right. I'm kind of done on that, but you can read the rest. I'm sure that it goes into more stipulations with dealing with that. But they're bringing in these laws. All right, this is Psalms 94:20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law? All right, this is what Esau does. He's framing mischief through the law. You might say, oh, these are Hamites, or you might even say they're Jake. All right, what does that have to do? But the people that control them is what? Is the elites of the society. All right, even for example, you deal with Nigeria. They have like great they're part of the OPEC, okay, because they have a lot of natural oil, all right, just gas, black gold, basically, all right, petrol, but they don't have any what do you call them? Not purification. They can't convert the petrol in their land because why? It'll make them they can sustain themselves basically, but that's not the case. It's being done, but they're being controlled by the companies or the corporations. It's the same thing with their monetary system. All right, they're being controlled from the outside in. All right. So this man is framed. You can see this is a witty way for him to steer everyone towards, using digital payments. That's going to lead to what? The mark. All right. So let's read this. It's the book of Micah 2 and 1. So it says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds, when the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. Right? This is something that took a process. There was a process that was worked and it was done in darkness in order for it to be achieved. All right, and you see the world over, it's being done in different extents. All right, Japan, China, it's been done from before. All right, and other nations. Verse 2, and they covet, because it is in the power of their hand, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses, and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Right, and they did that to us, nation of Israel. All right, so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and they'll do it again in this time. All right, it's gonna come to a head. All right. So you know what is the mark. All right, so let's go to this. All right. So this is from RT. It says British farmers warn of food supply crisis. The government's inaction risks further shortages in the country. The NFU warns huge price hikes have left Britain's farmers and growers in a dire situation. All right, mind you, I read an article earlier. All right, in an earlier video about how they actually did well in Ukraine, the breadbasket of the world. All right, but most of it got taken by Russia. But still, there's still a crisis at hand, a crisis. Sorry. All right. According to its report Tuesday, fertilizer, feed, fuel, and energy are all now more expensive due to the conflict in Ukraine and Novid pandemic's disruption to supply chains. Fertilizer prices tripled since 2019 on top of six-fold increase in wholesale gas prices, the NFU said. Right, and these are all things that are actually available. All right, fertilizer, I'm not too sure on that, but the wholesale gas prices, they said that the prices have gone down on where it was a year ago in the United States. So this six-fold price, where's it coming from? All right. The current shortage of eggs could spread to other food products, the union warned. Energy-intensive crops, including tomatoes, cucumbers, and pears, are reportedly on track to do their lowest yields since records began in 1985, as producers leave agriculture in the face of rising costs. The NFU highlighted that the nation had lost about 7,000 agricultural businesses since 2019. The danger is that we produce less and less of our food here, and we become ever more reliant on imports. And even there was a great expulsion of, a great departure or exodus of people due to the Brexit, all right, where you had a lot of people that used to reap the fields, the produce in the land over here, but they don't do it no more, all right, so this is leading to that famine. According to the union, 60 million worth of food went to waste on farms this year as a result of labour shortages. See, the labour shortages. So that's my point. I didn't even know I was going to say that. The NFU urged the government to provide urgent support to struggling farmers and allow 15,000 additional seasonal workers to come from abroad to help pick crops. So it's coming, they're learning that they fucked up, all right? So I'm going to get, the scriptures. I'll just read it straight to the point. I'll close out on this. Matthew 24. But I want to read 2 Ezra 16. This is 2 Ezra 16:19. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, and they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. All right, so with that, man, that's the update. The Lord willing, you was edified to the next one. Say shalom. Shalom.